Hi, my name is Spencer Brown, and typically when I have these intro videos, I like to first introduce myself as a husband and father. Um, my wife is there in the top right picture. She's sitting there holding my daughter Abigail, and I'm holding my son Benaiah, and they are just a bundle of joy and a lot of energy. My professional life started at Jayhawk Lynn High School in Mound City, Kansas. A small high school out there. I was a high school math teacher as well as a head football and track coach. About 3 years ago, I transitioned over to work as a Kansas MTSS trainer for the state. So I currently travel around to schools and help implement Kansas MTSS within buildings. Most of the districts that we're working with are doing an integrated setup where they're implementing in math, reading, and behavior social learning. Um, I primarily am on the math side of things in those trainings. A critical reflection of my current principal is a little difficult to do since I don't technically have a current principal. So instead, I kind of just try to do a critical reflection of current principals in general that uh, I run into because obviously I have contact with many as we work with building leadership teams and district leadership teams primarily. And I see a lot of strengths, obviously, in understanding the appropriate financial allocations and how to how to make sure to put the money where it needs to be placed to help emphasize the school, whatever the school may need. I see a lot of strengths in understanding IEP laws, district policies. Obviously, some are much stronger than others. That's a line that we kind of toe gently on because we want to make sure that we, in our work as Kansas MTSS training team, don't put the principals in any kind of tight position based on their district policies. If we were to ask for peer observations or something like that when we're working with good instructional practices. And the last piece that I put there is accreditation. That's kind of a hot item in schools right now. Obviously, as we're just starting this new cycle of accreditations, whatever year you may be entering in, it's just a new setup. So that's something that the administrators that I've spoken with have done a good job of just digging into and trying to learn more about. If I was to tag any kind of weakness with a lot of the principals that I work with, I would say special education law is not necessarily something that they don't know about, but understanding what is best practice within the confines of uh, some of that special education law, and making sure that they adhere to it, but also adhere to it in a way that's most beneficial to all students. My personal reflection, um, I would just say I approach I don't know as much as I need to, so I pretty well approach everything with caution when we're talking about school law, federal and state. I always reach out and ask a lot of questions. I'll reach out to contacts at KSDE. I'll reach out to colleagues who have masters or doctorates where they've been studying school law in the past. We have representation at the Tri-State Special Education Law Conference typically, and so I have lots of people I can reach out to and ask a lot of questions. But I tend to always do that if I'm talking about law, just to make sure I'm not saying something that's not accurate. But I would say, in terms of what I may have strengths on, probably what I know the most about in terms of law is special education law. With our job, when we're talking about training schools on how to provide best setups for intervention, we talk a lot about incidental benefit. Well, I shouldn't say we talk a lot about it, but we make sure the school understands what is incidental benefit, how is that advantageous to setting up their grouping for intervention, 180-hour rule, understanding the differences between the two there. What is the least restrictive environment to make sure that all of our kids are we're not creating silos in our school where students with IEPs go one place and students who don't go another. Um, and then understanding what is a general education intervention. Kansas MTSS, by definition, is a general education intervention. So helping people understand the difference with maybe a classification as tier 3 and special education or a student with an IEP, which those two are very distinct in nature and they're not the same thing at all. And so we want to help schools to understand that MTSS and general education interventions are not simply ways of conducting child find. My plans to improve is obviously this class, EDL 850 School Law. I was really excited to start this one. I've always been kind of a nerd for law, I guess. I thought about law school for a while, so I was really excited to see that this was next up, and I was going to have an opportunity to really dig in and learn a lot. Um, Obviously, researching the law is the best way to improve. There's a ton of resources out there, federal and state, to just dig in and read and make sure you understand what some of those laws may be saying. One thing personally I love to do is I attend the school law update sessions when I'm at conferences that have them. Our KSDE has some phenomenal attorneys on staff, and I believe it's at the KSDE annual conference. They host a school law session every year, and those are really informative, and they really help you understand kind of the intricacies involved in some of the law and understanding what exactly is meant by some of the language there. And then the last one is just to listen to you all, my classmates. I'm sure that you all have a vast amount of knowledge that I do not, and I can't wait to just hear from you all and learn more from you, and learn a lot more about school law in general. Lastly, I showed this video last time, so it will look familiar to Dr. Moody, but this is my son, and I'm again just want to restate how excited I am to start this course. This is probably one of, if not the top, on the list of courses that I was excited about taking in my master's classes. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to the rest of the class with you all.